Eleanor Vance looked down her nose at the man in the gray hoodie. Listen to me clearly, she snapped, pointing a manicured finger at his chest. You are here to hold the leash. You are not here to have an opinion. When we get to the gala, you walk 10 paces behind me. Do not speak to the judges. Do not look at the other owners. You are the help. Do you understand? The man, Marcus, simply adjusted his grip on the lead of the snarling Dalmatian, calmed the beast with a single breath, and looked Eleanor in the eye. I understand perfectly, Mrs. Vance. She had no idea that the man she just silenced was the only reason the judges were even showing up. Before we dive into this story of karma and canine psychology, please hit that subscribe button and like this video. It helps us bring more incredible stories to light. Now, let's witness the takedown. It was a Tuesday in late October, the kind of crisp autumn day that the wealthy residents of Kensington Heights adored. The leaves were turning gold, the air was fresh, and the private dog park was filled with purebreds that cost more than most cars. Eleanor Vance was struggling. She was a woman who defined herself by control over her husband's estate, control over her social circle, and control over her appearance. But she had absolutely no control over Prince, her 80-pound Dalmatian. Prince was a show dog on paper, but a wrecking ball in practice. He was lunging at a golden retriever, barking with a high-pitched, frantic yelp that signaled insecure aggression. Prince! Heel! I said heel! Eleanor shrieked, yanking back on the rhinestone-encrusted collar. The physics were not in her favor. Prince dropped his center of gravity and pulled. Eleanor stumbled, her expensive heels sinking into the soft turf. She flailed, dropping her designer clutch, looking every bit the fool she feared being. Need a hand? The voice was deep, calm, and baritone. Eleanor looked up, flustered and red-faced. Standing there was a tall African-American man. He wore worn-out sneakers, faded jeans, and a nondescript gray hoodie. He was holding a leash, attached to which were 6 different dogs, a pit bull, a Frenchie, a mutt, and 3 others. They were all sitting in a perfect semicircle around him, statuesque and silent. I don't need charity, Eleanor snapped, dusting off her coat. I need this stupid dog to listen. He's not stupid, the man said softly. He handed the 6 leashes to his left hand and stepped forward. He's over threshold. His cortisol levels are spiking because you're tightening the lead. You're transmitting your anxiety down the leash like a telephone wire. Eleanor scoffed. Excuse me? I didn't ask for a lecture from the dog walker. The man ignored the insult. He didn't look at Eleanor, he looked at Prince. He didn't stare the dog in the eyes, that's a challenge in canine language. Instead, he turned his body sideways, dipping his head slightly, engaging in a calming signal. He made a soft sound, a rhythmic tisk-tisk-tisk. Prince stopped barking. The dog's ears, previously pinned back in aggression, pricked up. The man extended a hand, palm up, but low to the ground. Prince took a step forward, sniffed the air, and sat down. Eleanor stared. She had spent thousands on trainers who used shock collars and shouting. This man had used nothing but body language. How did you do that? She demanded. Dogs don't listen to English, ma'am, the man said, stepping back to his own pack. They listen to energy. You're shouting, but your spirit is chaotic. He doesn't trust you to protect him, so he acts out to protect himself. Eleanor's eyes narrowed. She didn't hear the wisdom, she saw an opportunity. The National K9 Gala was in 3 days. Her usual handler had quit yesterday, citing mental breakdown. You, she said, pointing at him. Do you want a job? The man paused. A faint, ironic smile touched his lips. I have a job. Walking mutts for spare change? She gestured to his pack. I'm talking about real money. $500. One afternoon. You handle Prince at the gala. I walk in front, you handle the dog. Easy. The man hesitated. He looked at Prince, who was looking back at him with soulful, desperate eyes. The dog needed help. The dog was a nervous wreck because of this woman. I'm Marcus, he said. I didn't ask for your name, Eleanor replied, opening her purse. I asked if you wanted the money. Meet me at the Westin Pavilion, Saturday, 8 a.m. Sharp. And wear a suit. A cheap one is fine, just look presentable. Marcus looked at the cash she waved, then back at the dog. I'll be there. But we do this my way regarding the dog. As long as he wins, I don't care. Marcus spent the next 2 days meeting Eleanor at the park for her practice, though Eleanor treated it more like a masterclass in micromanagement. What Eleanor didn't know was that Marcus wasn't just a dog walker. 20 years ago, Marcus Thorne had been the youngest dual PhD candidate in ethology and veterinary neuroscience at Cornell. He had written the seminal book The Silent Language of the Pack, which revolutionized how military and police dogs were trained worldwide. He had retired from the academic spotlight after his wife passed away, choosing a simple life of rehabilitating red zone and dogs that others had given up on. He walked dogs not for money, but because he loved them. He was currently undercover, researching his new book on the psychology of urban pet owners. Eleanor Vance was providing him with plenty of material. No, no, no. Eleanor yelled on Thursday. You're holding the leash too loose. Choke up on it. Marcus stood firm. Mrs. Vance, science tells us that opposition reflex is a real thing. If I pull, Prince pulls back. It's instinct. If I give him slack, he has to make a choice to stay with me. I am teaching him operant conditioning through positive reinforcement and spatial pressure, not pain. Stop using big words to sound smart, Eleanor laughed, checking her phone. It's cute, but stick to the walking. Just make sure he doesn't bite the judge. Marcus sighed internally. He focused on Prince. The Dalmatian was highly intelligent but high-strung. Marcus utilized the Premack principle, using a high-probability behavior, sniffing, to reward a low-probability behavior, healing. Within 20 minutes, Prince was healing beautifully, his eyes locked on Marcus's left hip. Fine, Eleanor said, bored. He seems better. Just don't embarrass me on Saturday. The head judge is Sir Arthur Reynolds. He's British, extremely traditional, and hates incompetence. If you mess this up, you're not getting paid. I know who Arthur Reynolds is, Marcus muttered. What? Nothing. I'll see you on Saturday. The National K9 Gala was the Super Bowl of the dog world. The backstage grooming area smelled of hairspray, expensive shampoo, and nervousness. Handlers in Armani suits were brushing Afghan hounds, poodles were being blow-dried on tables. Eleanor arrived in a shimmering emerald gown, looking every bit the wealthy socialite. Marcus arrived in a suit he had pulled from the back of his closet. It was a bespoke Italian cut, slightly dated but clearly expensive, though Eleanor didn't notice the quality. She only saw that it was black and simple. You're late, she hissed, though he was 5 minutes early. Prince is ready, Marcus said calmly. He had spent 10 minutes outside the venue doing decompression work with the dog, long, sweeping strokes down the spine to release endorphins. Prince was calm, focused, and standing tall. Here, Eleanor shoved a brush at him. Fluff his tail. And remember the rules. You are invisible. When the judges come down the line, you step back. I do the talking. Actually, Marcus said, if the judge asks about the dog's gait or temperament, the handler is supposed to answer to ensure accuracy. You think you know more than me? Eleanor's voice rose, drawing stares from nearby tables. I own this dog. I pay the bills. You are a walker. You pick up poop for a living. Do not presume to speak to Sir Arthur Reynolds. He is a legend. You are nobody. She leaned in close, her perfume overpowering. If you speak one word to him, I will ensure you never walk a dog in the city again. I know people. Marcus looked at her. For the first time, his eyes went cold. It wasn't anger, it was the clinical detachment of a scientist observing a particularly nasty specimen. Understood, Marcus said. The lights of the arena were blinding. The applause was a low roar. The announcer's voice boomed over the PA system. And now, the non-sporting group. Please welcome the Dalmatians. Eleanor strutted into the ring, waving to the crowd. Marcus walked 3 paces behind her, holding the lead with a fingertips-only grip. Prince floated beside him. The dog's movement was liquid grace. The bond between man and animal was palpable, they moved as one unit. Eleanor, however, kept looking back, trying to grab the leash to pose for photos. Leave it, Marcus whispered. Let him work. They lined up for the inspection. There were 10 dogs in the ring. The judge, Sir Arthur Reynolds, was a man of 70 with a white mustache and a reputation for shredding incompetence. He moved down the line, inspecting teeth, feeling muscle tone. He reached the 3rd dog, a bulldog, and dismissed the handler for using a choke chain too aggressively. Disgraceful, Reynolds barked. Out of my ring. Eleanor gulped. She straightened her dress. Reynolds approached Prince. Eleanor stepped forward, flashing a blinding smile. Hello, Sir Arthur. This is Prince. He is from the Vandermeer lineage, purebred, fed only organic. Reynolds held up a hand, silencing her without looking at her. His eyes were fixed on the dog, and the man holding the leash. Reynolds frowned. He leaned in closer to the dog. He checked the teeth. He felt the shoulder muscles. Then, he looked up at the handler. The arena went silent as Reynolds squinted. The bright lights made it hard to see, but as Reynolds adjusted his glasses, his jaw literally dropped. Good God, Reynolds whispered. Eleanor beamed. I know. Isn't he magnificent? Reynolds ignored her completely. He walked right past Eleanor and stood toe-to-toe with Marcus. It can't be, Reynolds said, his voice trembling slightly. Marcus? Marcus Thorne? Marcus smiled, a genuine, warm smile. Hello, Arthur. It's been a while. Since the Zurich Symposium, I believe? Eleanor froze. Her brain couldn't process the data. That Helpa was calling the head judge by his first name? Reynolds laughed, a booming, joyous sound. He grabbed Marcus's hand and shook it vigorously. A while? It's been 5 years. We thought you vanished off the face of the earth. The Royal Veterinary College has been trying to reach you about your paper on aggressive microsignals. We use your Thorne scale in every competition now. The microphone was still live. The entire arena heard every word. I've been taking a break, Marcus said humbly. Just doing some field research. Reynolds turned to the other judges in the center of the ring. Gentlemen. Ladies. Do you know who this is? This is Dr. Marcus Thorne. The man who literally wrote the book on canine cognitive therapy. The other two judges, distinguished experts in their own right, rushed over. It was a celebrity sighting. Handlers from other lines were craning their necks. Eleanor stood there, her mouth agape, her face draining of color. She looked at Marcus, then at the judge, then back at Marcus. Dr. Thorne, she squeaked. Reynolds finally looked at Eleanor, his expression souring. Madam, are you aware that you have the Einstein of animal behavior handling your dog? I saw you shouting at him in the warm-up area. I assumed he was a novice you were scolding. I had half a mind to disqualify you for poor sportsmanship. I. Eleanor stammered. He walks my. He is a genius, Reynolds interrupted. He turned back to Marcus. What on earth are you doing handling in the ring, Marcus? You should be sitting at the table with us. Marcus patted Prince's head. Prince here needed a fair shake, Arthur. He's a good dog with a lot of anxiety. I wanted to prove that with the right leadership, any dog can shine. Even if the owner. Marcus paused, glancing at Eleanor, needs a little training herself. The crowd rippled with laughter. The judging continued, but the dynamic had shifted tectonically. When Marcus was asked to gate the dog run in a triangle pattern, the crowd cheered louder for him than for the winner of the Best in Show. Prince performed flawlessly. He didn't pull. He didn't bark. He trotted with his head high, looking at Marcus for guidance. They won the group. Blue ribbon. When Reynolds handed the ribbon over, he didn't hand it to Eleanor. He handed it to Marcus. Magnificent handling, Doctor, Reynolds said. Marcus took the ribbon and turned to Eleanor. The crowd was watching. The cameras were zoomed in. Eleanor was trembling. She was humiliated, yes, but she was also terrified. She had treated a man of immense stature like a servant. She had insulted him, underpaid him, and mocked him. Marcus held out the ribbon to her. He's a good dog, Eleanor, Marcus said, his voice amplified by the acoustics of the hall. But dogs are mirrors. Prince is anxious because you are anxious. He is aggressive because you are insecure. If you want him to be a champion, you don't need to hire me. You need to work on yourself. He placed the ribbon in her shaking hand. And about the $500, Marcus added. Keep it. Donate it to the local shelter. Tell them Dr. Thorne sent you. Marcus unclipped the leash from Prince's collar and handed the lead to Eleanor. He's all yours. Remember, loose leash, calm heart. Marcus turned and walked out of the ring. The video of the exchange went viral before Marcus even left the building. The title was, Famous Judge Bows to a Dog Walker, the Ultimate Reality Check. Eleanor Vance became a pariah in the dog show circuit for a while. The clip of her scolding Dr. Thorne in the background was dissected by lip readers. It was a PR nightmare. But stories like this have layers. 3 months later, Marcus was back at the park. He was walking his usual pack of 6 misfits. He was throwing a ball for a 3-legged pit bull when he saw a familiar figure approaching. It was Eleanor. But she wasn't wearing heels. She was wearing sneakers and jeans. She wasn't dragging Prince. Prince was walking on a loose leash beside her. She stopped 10 feet away. She looked humble. Different. Dr. Thorne, she asked. Marcus turned. Just Marcus is fine in the park. I wanted to show you, she said, gesturing to Prince. I read your book. I read it twice. I fired the other trainers. We've been working on calm assertiveness. Prince sat down without being told. He looked relaxed. I also wanted to apologize, Eleanor said, her voice cracking slightly. Not because you're famous. But because I was cruel. I judged you based on how you looked, and I treated you like you were beneath me. It was ugly. Marcus looked at her. He looked at the dog. The dog was happy. That was the only metric that mattered to Marcus. You're doing good work with him, Eleanor, Marcus said softly. He trusts you now. Thank you, she whispered. Can I join your pack walk? Just to socialize him? Marcus smiled. He whistled to his dogs. Sure. Fall in. But keep up, we walk fast. The story of Eleanor and Marcus isn't just about dogs. It's about the dangerous assumptions we make about people based on their appearance or job title. Eleanor saw a hoodie and saw a servant. The judge saw the technique and saw a master. In a world obsessed with status, true mastery often whispers while arrogance shouts. Marcus Thorne didn't need to tell anyone who he was, his work spoke for him. Remember, the person you are treating poorly today might be the teacher you need tomorrow. If this story touched your heart or taught you something about respect, please smash that like button. It helps the algorithm share this message with more people. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a true story. What would you have done if you were Marcus? Let me know in the comments below.